So this is one of those acts of worship where by the time I've stolen clips and images of other people making the point much better than I can, you won't actually hear that much from me, which is a good thing.
Hi, Eddie.
Hey.
You mind if we forego the whole creepy serial killer thing here?
Sure, it's good with me.
I mean, I can turn it on if you want, but I can talk about the Dadaist patterns of arterial spray.
I bet you can.
Tough to see you in this light, Eddie. Come on over.
All right. I'm here.
When I get out of here, and I will, there's gonna be carnage.
It's one of those classic scenarios from films and stories, isn't it? The villain gets caught and they spend their time planning what they'll do with their freedom. Normally it's plotting revenge. In the stories where there's a bit of remorse, they dream of where they'll go, what they'll eat, and how they'll make up for what they've missed most. I wonder, what would be the first thing you'd do upon the release from captivity? Maybe that's difficult pondering. Hopefully it's one that you won't have to bring into play. So how about this one instead? Imagine you win the postcode lottery. The money is yours, tax-free. What's the first thing you buy? That happened to a couple in Hull recently, and the first thing they planned to buy with their 500,000 plus winnings? Lurpak. Today I've been asked to consider British values, particularly focusing on individual liberty. Now, before I get into what that is, I want to make sure we're all aware that these values are important. We don't always see them enacted in the upper echelons of society, where even our own government can be seen to pick and choose which ones they like at which time. But we need to be better. We need to live these out. So, individual liberty. It's all about freedom. Freedom of speech, of choice, of presentation. It's about acknowledging and living like all of us are unique, and yet we have a shared goal of harmony and living together well. Individual liberty is about us all realising that we all have our own dreams. We want to hit our own targets. We are free to find our own challenges and achieve our own victories. No person has the right to stop you from achieving what you want to achieve. You have the right to think of your own ideas, love who you want to love, be the star that you want to be. Individual liberty lets us all make our own choices. But you don't have the right to take others' freedom. Each person's freedom must be protected. The reality is, though, that we all have things that stop us being free. You're here because you have to be. At home you might hear the phrase or experience the sentiment, my house, my rules. We can be restricted by how much money we have, by where we live, by cultural and religious expectations, by the way others look at us and treat us, and the way we treat and limit ourselves. We live in a world where some people have privilege, normally those of us who are white, male and middle class, and others feel like they can't be free because they're not allowed to be themselves. They're not allowed to express what makes them a beautiful part of our diverse society. Losing part of your identity is losing your freedom. Zalando is a fashion retailer who seek to challenge things like gender norms in fashion. They ran an advertising campaign called Free to Be that featured people who are living as themselves and helping others to find that same freedom. It included champions of women's rights and mental health advocates, plus-size models, and those who don't always find themselves defined by gender norms. Rain Dove had this to say as part of the campaign.
Freedom for me doesn't mean that I'm free and everything's going to be okay, and that everyone's going to love me for who I am, and that everyone's going to think I'm attractive and wonderful. Free to be means that I've resolved who I am. I'm okay with it. And I'm not hiding anymore, no matter the cost. My name is Rain Dove, and for me, a pronoun is just a sound, and all I'm listening for in that sound is positivity, so you can call me he, she, it, one, they. I don't care, as long as you have good intentions. I grew up feeling that the F on my birth certificate kind of stood for failure or fugly, because I was never really kind of the same as everybody else. I was tall, had armpit hair that grew like Rapunzel, and just like a strange little creature in a world that I don't think was ready for me at the time. As a person who has constantly run into walls when it comes to my identity, I feel like I just don't want to wait in line anymore politely for someone to give me what they think I deserve, because I know I deserve a lot more. But now I'm in a place where I feel a lot more confident in who I am, and I don't change myself in order to receive validation from other people. In fact, when people challenge me and say, you don't deserve to be here, I'm like, what makes you think that you do? Let's have a conversation. Where is this coming from? I think that the most important thing is that you're honest with yourself. Honesty is the only way that you're actually existing. It's the only way that you're having a truth, and it doesn't matter if other people know that truth, it just matters that you do. You don't have to be brave in order to feel free or to feel loved. If you feel like you have the privilege to be able to challenge the system, I say go for it, every chance that you can get, because if you're speaking from truth and integrity, you can never be wrong. A lot of people think that I'm a model, but I say that I'm a movement. My social media is a reflection of that. I use it to create a beacon so that people know that there is someone out there who loves them. And I use it to just tell the truth. And when people write hateful messages, I like to promote something called Educate, Don't Hate, which is the idea that instead of clapping back at people who don't like us, we see them as people who don't necessarily understand us. You deserve everything that I have. You deserve to sit at this table. You deserve to eat what I'm eating. You deserve to wear what I'm wearing. You deserve to have all of my successes. And we can't do that if we're hating back the haters. And I didn't want people to give me what they thought I deserved based off of what they thought I had on my birth certificate or between my legs. I want them to give me what they think I deserve based on me and myself, who I am. I'm proud that I've chosen to live. It's true. It hasn't always been easy, but it's always been worth it. And I get to go to places all over the world, speak at colleges and universities. I get to wake up every morning, and the only thing I'm obligated to do is live. I think that's one of the things I'm the proudest of, because it was a struggle to get there, you know. But I hope that one day we can buy clothing like it's architecture, knowing our measurements and knowing the measurements of the thing we're about to buy, and not necessarily seeing it as, if I buy this, I'm going against the fabric of society.
If you feel like you have the privilege to be able to challenge the system, go for it. If you're speaking from truth and integrity, you can never be wrong. Now there's a challenge for all of us. On the first level, to live your truth and your identity, to live with integrity as the person you are. And secondly, if you have a voice that can be listened to you, if you have privilege, then speak up and start challenging things. It's in that action that we maximize our freedom. Nelson Mandela, a man famous for his lack of freedom for most of his life, said this: "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." And in the Bible, Paul put it this way: "It's absolutely clear that God has called you to a free life. Just make sure that you don't use this freedom as an excuse to do whatever you want to do and destroy your freedom. Rather, use your freedom to serve one another in love. That's how freedom grows. For everything we know about God's word is summed up in a single sentence: love others as you love yourself. That's an act of true freedom." I guess you'll all have taken away something different from this. But what I'm really trying to say, I think, is this: be more Dobby. Dobby found freedom, and in his freedom used it to maximize the life of others. The very first thing he did with the gift of freedom was to stand in the line of fire for the sake of Harry Potter.
Come, Dobby.
Open it.
Dobby?
Master has given Dobby a sock.
What? I didn't...
Master has presented Dobby with clothes. Dobby is free.
servant!
You shall not harm Harry Potter. Harry Potter freed Dobby. How can Dobby ever repay him?
Just promise me something.
Anything, sir.
Never try to save my life again.
As we draw to a close, our prayer is going to be a simple reflection, using the words to a 90s dance track, Free, by Ultranate. As I read it through, consider what it means for you to be free, and how you can maximize the freedom of others too. Where did we go wrong? Where did we lose our faith? My brother is in need, but can he depend on me? Do you think if one of you tried, maybe you could find a better friend than any other? If you gave more than you took, life could be so good. Come on and try. Now's the time. Are we all strangers? Does anyone really care? Deep down, we're all the same, trying to hide our pain. You think you can never trust another because they're all out to get you. We have to live in this world together. If we open up our hearts, love can finally start. Come on and try. Now's the time because you're free to do what you want to do. You've got to live your life and do what you want to do. May we be who we are called to be, who we are free to be. And may we bring freedom to others. Amen.
Where did we go wrong? Where did we lose our faith? My brother is in need, but can he depend on me? Do you think if one of you tried, maybe you could find a better friend than any other? If you gave more than you took, life could be so good. Come on and try. Now's the time, 'cause you're free to do what you wanna do. You gotta live for your life. You do what you wanna do. Are we all strangers? Does anyone really care? Deep down, we're all the same, trying to hide our pain. Do you think you can never trust another? They're all out to get you. We have to live in this world together. If you open up your heart, life could finally start.